Yeah.
Hey yo, man, it's your time. And fuck poverty. Get this money, man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Phil and Leroy the Judgmental Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This your boy Phil in the house.
And I'm Leroy. So I guess we got to tell all the Judgmental fans that we did a secret episode last week. We talked over 2 hours, and it only recorded 7 minutes of it.
God damn.
So, yeah, that was our secret episode, the lost episode. You know how rappers have, like, lost tracks?
Mm-hmm.
That was a lost episode that no one will ever hear for 2 hours and recorded 7 minutes of it.
That was you fucking around?
No, it wasn't. So some of the stuff here is stuff that we did last week, and some is new stuff. Well, majority of it is new pretty much, but this is some stuff that we did. This is something we did last week of the viral video of the week. Shout out to the Hunter Prosper YouTube channel, Hunter Prosper, Prosper. Here's a man talking about his first love and his heartbreak. I hate to laugh because it's not funny.
Oh,
Here we go.
Who was your greatest love, and why did you fall?
Can you see and hear that?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Who was your greatest love, and why did you fall in love with them?
I'm not going to say her name because it'll embarrass her. I'm single, and there's a reason for that.
What happened to you two, if you don't mind asking?
I just feel bad for the guy because when he asked him that question, it's almost like he just wanted to start crying.
You heard his voice crack.
Yeah.
She wasn't interested. It was just that simple.
How long had you two gone out?
We didn't.
Oh, did you
Just
ever,
close friends.
Did you ever tell her?
Yeah. It is possibly the single most awkward experience of my entire life. I just felt like I needed to be honest with her. I mean, our relationship's never really quite recovered from it. We're still close friends, but it's not the same.
How were you able to get over it?
I didn't. I'm 50 years old and single, and that's on me. That's not on her. That's not on anyone else. A huge part of me regrets that I ever met her. Then the instant after that, I have huge regrets that I ever had that regret.
What's your name?
Keith.
Hunter.
Sorry about that, Keith, but leave her alone. And don't make yourself accessible to her. Okay, y'all friends or anything. Talk every now and then. I wouldn't talk to her all the time. And like how we said last week, my conversation with her will only be generic. I wouldn't ask her about her personal business, and if she asked me about mine, I would just change the subject because she's only talking to you so she can talk about her problems with these dudes and all that stuff. And you was giving her advice. Oh no, I wouldn't do that. Oh no, he's probably cheating on you. Stuff like that.
Once you let a girl know how you feel about her, and if she don't have them same feelings, you need to just go ahead and walk the other way.
That's true. Yeah, you need to go on and like I was saying, if he was just such a nice guy, she would introduce her to one of her girlfriends or something. But she's not going to do that because that means he wouldn't be accessible to her anymore. Because his attention is going to be on the girl that he's dealing with. So she's just pretty much just using him.
Yeah.
So, go on. But that was like a year ago that Hunter Prosper posted that. So hopefully he done moved on with his life and found somebody. Damn. So last week we talked about on the Judgmentals that anytime that it's an article that we cover and something to update or something new come out about the article, we're going to give an update to the audience. So last episode we talked about it wasn't last episode, it was like the episode before the last one. We talked about Suyapa Ramos. It was a New Jersey woman who went to Turks and Caicos who took a beat down from this quote unquote taxi cab driver. So here's this article in the dailymail.com. She gives a exclusive interview with the dailymail.com. I'm gonna have to read the article here. An exclusive interview with the dailymail.com, Ramos described, quote unquote, fighting for her life and feeling like she was going to die at the hands of her attacker as she recounted the violent assault. Ramos had innocently blundered into a potentially deadly nightmare. I don't know how we'll get to that.
What happened to
a daily nightmare when she left her resort to grab some food at one of the tourist haunts in Grace Bay area of Providence Island on March the 9th around 9:30 p.m. She was accompanied by a botanic male friend who Phil and I said that that's some guy that the guy's married and she's having an affair with the guy. And he brought her to Turks and Caicos, who treated her to what had been a idyllic break from in the British overseas territory, but ended in terror and life-changing injury. After the meal, the man who Ramos did not wish to name decided to hit the nearby casino, leaving her to wait for him in a popular Cielo cocktails and music bar because she didn't want to spend the night gambling. So he told her that well, I'm going to go gambling. She didn't want to go, and he said, "Well, look, I'll come back and pick you up in an hour or whatever, 2 hours, and we can go back to the result." Bad move number one, because once he wanted to go to the casino and she didn't want to go, she should have just went to the resort, back to the resort, whatever.
Yes.
She should, and now keep in mind, this isn't like it's not like it's 3 in the afternoon. It's 9:30. So they got there at 9:30 and they ate a meal. And then he was like, "Well, look, I'm gonna go to this casino." Now, what time do you think this is?
2 in the morning.
Yep. I think it was like super late when they was out. They was drinking, eating meals.
1 and 2 in the morning.
Yep, I agree.
And the clubs that's on a resort, because they usually got clubs on a resort, but they don't stay open all night. So the clubs on a resort closed. So now they want to leave the resort.
Right. Mm-hmm. However, she said her friend did not return to pick her up. And it was past midnight. I don't believe it was past midnight. Well, it was past midnight, but like Philip said, it was probably like 1 or 2 o'clock. That's past midnight. Or Sunday, March the 10th, when she realized she needed to make her way back to the resort. The place was about to close. And she said, "Oh shit, he ain't gonna be here in time." So that's when she made this decision that she had made, which, like you said, it was probably like 1 or 2 o'clock. Ride-sharing services such as Uber and Lyft are not available on the island, and privately owned taxis only operate during Pacific business hours. I asked the bartender, and he said, "There's no taxis running that late." He offered to take me when he finished work. But then another guy approached me and sat next to me, said Ramos. He started talking with me and chatting to the bar staff. Everybody knew him. They were laughing and joking, and he was just telling him, whatever she want, don't charge her. Get her liquored up so he can have sex afterwards. He said, "You're looking for a ride back to the resort?" And he added, "Well, I do taxi on the side. I can take you." Everybody seemed to know him. I said, "Okay," thinking he's a part-time taxi driver.
Oh my goodness.
Still not sensing the danger, Ramos got into the taxi and the man drove off. But a few minutes later, he said he decided he needed to stop at his apartment to get some marijuana, she said. "I really need to use the restroom, so I asked if I can use his real quick," Ramos could continue. We got upstairs, and I guess he started smoking his weed. So let me get this straight. So, okay, she's from New Jersey, right? Do you think that she'll meet a man that she just met, hop in his car, and ask to use his bathroom?
Yeah. If put yourself in danger was a real person, that's her.
And then my man, he know he got to leave and take her somewhere, correct? So he just want to sit down and smoke weed. I don't believe that at all. He thought that they was going to be in that room kicking it.
She probably let it on that way too. He probably flashed money in the bar. She probably thought she had some bread. She gonna get a quick dollar. Ain't nobody gonna know nothing.
Right. As I was coming out of the bathroom, he instantly attacked me. He just grabbed me and forced me into the bedroom and up against the bed. He kept smashing his fist into my left side of my head while growling like an animal and telling me to die. I was desperately trying to defend myself, trying to cover my head and my face because I was afraid of being unconscious. Even when all of this was suddenly going on, I realized if I blacked out, it could have been the end. I don't know if he was trying to sexually assault me because this just happened out of nowhere. He was relentless pummeling me. Ramos had obtained other injuries to her abdomen and legs while trying to ward off the blows before breaking free and heading for the apartment front door. I just ran. I think I flew down a staircase because I don't remember going down the steps. I just know I ended up on a street level with them chasing me. Okay, so she said she didn't know how she got outside. Will you consider this like a concussion type of thing?
Probably. Well, I don't know. I don't know what she's going through. Like if she's full of shit or what. This is kind of hard to tell.
Okay. He was yelling, but I got a few yards from him. I ran through the grass and then some gravel before coming to the road. I didn't know where I was heading, but I saw car lights and made it for him. Her savers were two Latino men who rushed her to the hospital for emergency treatment for the horror revealed in exclusive DailyMail.com photos showing her battered head and face with needed 10 stitches. I don't know the identity of those two men who saved me, but I thank them from the bottom of my heart, said Ramos, whose injuries have prevented her from returning to work as a hospital patient coordinator. She was fortunately able to return to New Jersey the following day. I lost my vision in my left eye, and I still can't see through it, she said. I just come from the eye doctor appointment in Jersey City, and I've been told I needed surgery for a muscle tear in a socket. I'm also still unable to hear out my left ear. I have no idea if that is going to change. This is a horrific thing to happen. And on top of that, I'm currently unable to work. Now, you said this, if she's telling the truth, you would say that was concussion syndrome where she didn't know how she got outside, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, now, okay, okay, let's just say she had a concussion. She got a battered face and she got 10 stitches. Would they allow her to get on a plane for her to go to New Jersey the next day?
I don't know. Probably depending on how bad condition she in.
Okay. Yeah, she's full of it. My man thought he was gonna get something that night, and she started acting stupid or whatever. That's what happened.
She should have never been over his place to begin with. If you got to piss, you should have pissed at the bar.
Yep.
And then if the bartender say he'll give you a ride, at least you know who you work. Other people know him. You just jumping in a random dude's car and shit, going back to his crib. That shit sound crazy if you ask me.
Yep. First of all, everybody, well, ladies, if you like that by yourself in a place you don't know, a resort, a town you don't know, or whatever, you by yourself. Soon after my man said that he was gonna go to the casino, she should have said, "Well, look, I'm going back home. I'm going back to I'm about to say home. Going back to the resort." That's what she should have did. That would have ended everything. And like you said, they got stuff going on at the resort.
Yep.
She should have never stayed.
That's more to the story she don't want to tell us about, because if you tell us about it, it'll make her look bad.
Right.
So
because
she gonna go ahead and play the victim card and everybody feels sorry for her.
Because she's a mistress, would you say that?
Yes. Definitely. Can't be going in these other countries fucking around like you do over here. It shit don't work the same.
Right. And like you were saying before about how these other countries treat women, she probably got into his room and talking smart or whatever to him, start talking shit to him, and he probably flipped out on her. Because in those countries, like you said, they don't play that with women, back talking and all that stuff. Yeah. So we're going to go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where 19-year-old Sade Robinson went on a date with 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson when she went to his house and never came back. Now, this first clip is a timeline of her disappearance, where the reporter breaks it down what happened and the times that they found the pieces and all that stuff.
We're working to learn more information about the disappearance of Sade Robinson and the possible connection to those human remains that have been found across the area over the last 10 days. Since Sade went missing, her family has been asking for donations for search efforts. Today, the GoFundMe says the money will be used for memorial expenses. So far, law enforcement has not confirmed Sade's death or connected her to the body parts that have been found or the person in custody in all this, Maxwell Anderson. Our Jenna Ray walks us through a timeline since Sade went missing.
The story begins on Monday, April 1st. That's when 19-year-old Sade Robinson was first reported missing. On Tuesday, April 2nd, family says Sade's car was found torched here near 30th and Lisbon on Milwaukee's north side. That same day,
just really brings into question what is wrong with people. It's heinous.
A severed leg was found here at Warnemont Park in Cudahy, 11 miles from Sade's burned car. On Thursday, April 4th, our crews found Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputies searching a home on Oklahoma and 39th Street. That same day, Maxwell Anderson was taken into custody and identified as a person of interest in relation to the severed leg found in Cudahy. Now, this is where things take another disturbing turn. Friday, April 5th, sheriff's deputies found more body parts near where I'm standing at 30th and Lisbon, the same location where Sade's car was found set on fire. On Saturday, April 6th, Sade's family searched that same area and found her blanket.
It's devastating because when we came to look for her, we weren't.
Well, she went on a date with her own blanket with her face on it.
No, it probably was in her car. You know how people keep things in the car.
Yeah.
Coming looking for body parts. We were just coming to look for her.
Milwaukee police came out to search again and found even more human remains. Now it's Sunday, April 7th. Sade's family comes back to search and finds human remains yet again.
I want answers because I need to know why somebody would want to do this to her.
Let's go.
The Milwaukee Police Department must be bush leagues, because how are these family members are finding all this shit, but they can't?
They didn't give a shit. The cops, when they did their search, they didn't give a shit about looking.
Go back to Maxwell Anderson for a second. While he has not been charged with a crime, we're naming him because of the nature of the allegations. On Tuesday, April 9th, Anderson went before a Milwaukee County judge where prosecutors asked for an extension to keep him behind bars. That extension was granted. The same night, family and friends of Sade's went back to Warnemont Park in Cudahy to search the area.
She looked out for my baby. The least I could do was look out for her mama's baby.
They say they found what they believe to be body parts, but that the sheriff's office needed to investigate further. It's now Thursday.
So they still out there still finding body parts.
But the cops ain't find nothing, and they said they
Exactly.
search. That's bullshit.
Right.
Thursday, April 11th, 11 days since Sade went missing. The sheriff's office is leading the investigation, but our phone calls and emails have gone unanswered. The DA's office confirmed charges are likely not coming today. Sade's mom tells me that once charges are filed, she plans to sit down and talk with us. I'm Jenna Ray for TMJ4 News.
Law enforcement back out this afternoon searching along the Lake Michigan shoreline at Warnemont Park in Cudahy. Again, this is the place where that severed leg was found and all this began. It's also where the family of missing Milwaukee woman Sade Robinson has been searching for clues. No word on what this group of officers were looking for.
Well, all right, during that hearing, one of the family members made a battle rap or poetry about this case, which if I was the family member and if one of my family members was talking about doing this shit, I told them nope. Matter of fact, when he was doing it, I'd have made it stop. Like, all right, y'all, we going or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, here's his battle rap that he made. This is during the hearing now when his I think that was her uncle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This woman is in 100 separate pieces, and this is what he did during this hearing.
Now, we did speak with Robinson's family. They gave us a brief statement after court.
Sade was more than a person. She was an angel. Not having her right now is very painful. We need justice for Sade. Me and my family would never be okay. My sister and parents won't stop shaking, and it ain't because they're nervous. Imagine trying to bury your niece with no body for the service. I need justice for Sade. I have nothing more to say.
That is absolutely ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So, all right, he had a preliminary hearing during the week, and so this will be his second hearing. And here we go with this one.
New at 10 tomorrow,
Oh, I got a treat for you too, right here.
Maxwell Anderson, the man accused of killing and mutilating 19-year-old Sade Robinson, will appear before a judge once again.
Our Bria Jones is here with a look ahead at Anderson's court appearance. Bria?
Yes, if you remember, Philip, there's our girl, Bria Jones.
Oh, shit.
Bria Jones got a cannabis-like outfit on, and she still got that mane on top of her head that wouldn't match any other type of hair on her body. So I guess she's in Milwaukee now. She was in the Memphis, Arkansas area. So she made it to Milwaukee. So hopefully it's an upgrade in pay. But damn, she got on this cannabis-like outfit on. I mean, come on.
It's crazy.
Ted, Mary, this will be Maxwell Anderson's second appearance in court. Prosecutors saying his alleged fatal first date with Sade Robinson left her dead and dismembered. Tonight, as he sits in jail, police still watching his home as the community continues to pepper it with pink for Robinson. Windmills spin outside Maxwell Anderson's home. Constant spinning, mirroring the racing thoughts of Milwaukeeans, mourning the loss of Sade Robinson.
Who would do that to somebody? Like, nobody deserved that to happen to him.
On April 1st, prosecutors say 33-year-old Anderson and 19-year-old Robinson met for their first date in Milwaukee. Robinson would later be reported critical missing. Over the next nearly 3 weeks, body parts and human remains were discovered across Milwaukee County. Maxwell is due back in court Monday. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson in Robinson's death. A day before the preliminary hearing, officers are posted outside, and yellow crime scene tape still lines Anderson's home at 39th Street near Oklahoma Avenue. The home GPS technology last placed Robinson.
It's just a horrific story, and it touched everybody.
Sunday, Cameron left 30 in Robinson's death. A day before the preliminary hearing, officers are posted outside, and yellow crime scene tape still lines Anderson's home at 39th Street near Oklahoma Avenue.
Look at the player here. this man getting all the hoes, huh?
Like a damn caveman, like a fucking outback lumberjack.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Home GPS technology last placed Robinson.
It's just a horrific story, and it touched everybody.
Sunday, Cameron Lacking and his family came to pay their respects after church, dropping off pink flowers and balloons.
We all got baptized and just put it on our heart to come show some love.
And now, as body parts continue to appear around the lakefront, many are bracing for the wheels of justice to spin.
Just praying for justice. I just wish he would just, at least let the family know so they can have some closure with the rest of her body parts. Or
I did reach out to Anderson's attorney, Tony Cotton, for a comment today. He said right now we have no statement to make. Anderson's hearing is tomorrow afternoon.
They don't got no proof that he did anything, right?
They're going to get to that. This next report is the preliminary hearing. They're going to talk about what the stuff, because they only know about the GPS and all that stuff.
Right. And he was the last one seen with her.
Correct. And she was at her house because the GPS went to her house, and all where the body parts was, her phone was around, because I'm assuming that he was driving her around in her car. So this is the preliminary hearing.
Our big story today at 5, the man accused of killing a Milwaukee woman and dismembering her body pleads not guilty.
Prosecutors say Maxwell Anderson killed Sade Robinson and then mutilated her body earlier this month. Aaron Mabin is live with more from today's hearing. Aaron?
Ted and Mary, this was a quick, straightforward preliminary hearing. It lasted just 4 minutes. One of the big takeaways is Maxwell Anderson will head to trial for the killing of Sade Robinson. This is a gruesome, complex case that began with a first date that somehow went horribly wrong.
When I hear complex case, I said to myself, he might get off on this.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have evidence. If you can't prove it, then he's gonna walk.
Right.
Accused killer Maxwell Anderson walked into a Milwaukee County courtroom for a preliminary hearing Monday afternoon.
He could say, well, look, yeah, she was over there, but I mean, we hung out for what, an hour or so when she left.
Right. And the thing is other females. Remember, I was telling you, it was a couple other females that said they went out with him and they went back to his crib and ain't nothing really happened to them. They're still alive. So that's kind of on his side. Like, well, shit, if I'm a serial killer and a killer, why didn't do nothing to them?
Right.
Prosecutors say he killed Sade Robinson before dismembering the 19-year-old's body earlier this month.
I have read the criminal complaint. It does state probable cause. Waive reading? We do.
The 33-year-old waived his right to a preliminary hearing and will head to trial.
Did you also understand that by waiving that hearing, you are conceding that the state can establish probable cause and you will be ordered to stand trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anyone make any promises to get you to give up your hearing?
No, Your Honor.
This is Maxwell Anderson's first court appearance since the torso and arm believed to belong to Sade Robinson were found along Lake Michigan last week. Anderson was arrested April 4th, 2 days after someone found Robinson's leg at Warnemont Park in Cudahy. A criminal complaint says investigators used surveillance and cell phone data to track Anderson down. Prosecutors say the two went on a first date when Robinson was killed. What led to the death and a motive are not clear.
This gentleman, I believe, moved very calculated through the city and was intentional about where he placed the body parts, the car, setting it on fire, and just getting on the bus as if it was just an ordinary day.
April Bentley was one of several people who attended the hearing to support Sade Robinson's family.
I needed to be here to support the family, even though they weren't here. I stand in the gap.
Earlier today, we got our hands on a brand new amended criminal complaint that reveals the blood that was swabbed on the bedding in the basement of Maxwell Anderson's home is not a match for Sade Robinson's DNA, but prosecutors did not say whose blood that is. Maxwell Anderson's next court appearance will be May 16th. Ted?
Aaron, we heard from him in court today answering the judge's questions. What was his demeanor like overall? Did he look around looking for his family members? Was he looking around at whoever was there to support Sade Robinson?
And Ted, we just looked back at that video, and it just looks like he walks in the courtroom and he stares straight at his attorney, and then when he sits down, he stares straight at the judge. When we heard from him today, that was some of the most talking we've heard from Maxwell Anderson, Ted, since this all began.
Aaron.
All right, and this next one, as you were kind of sort of alluding to, do we have a serial killer? Because the blood that was in the house didn't match young Sade. This was also on a preliminary hearing, and here's the report on that.
A big admission today by prosecutors handling the homicide of Sade Robinson. A new court document shows blood found in the suspect's home does not match with the victim. Maxwell Anderson is charged with murdering Robinson and then dismembering her body. Jenna Ray explains what this means for the case.
I sent a copy of that document to defense counsel prior to the hearing. Acknowledge receipt, enter a not guilty plea subject to our substitution request. Thank you.
There was silence in the courtroom as Maxwell Anderson, the man charged with killing and dismembering Sade Robinson, pleaded not guilty to his alleged crimes. Is that hard for you to kind of comprehend and see that person in court?
It's extremely hard. There's so many emotions attached to that.
Monday afternoon, the criminal complaint, which details prosecutors' probable cause to charge Anderson, now has new evidence. Court documents show when investigators first went to Anderson's house, they found blood on the bedding in one of the bedrooms and on the walls leading towards the basement.
It just indicates that the preliminary DNA analysis supports the conclusion that there is no support for inclusion of Robinson's DNA in the blood or swabs that have been tested.
Meaning the blood found, which has now gone through preliminary testing, is not Sade's. But it's not clear whose blood it is.
This case in particular, just, I guess it caused so much emotions to rise to the surface for all the girls that are missing, and how he was a troller. He trolled the bars, he trolled the internet, he trolled the neighborhoods, and he was looking for girls like Sade. And he
Okay, is she saying something that we don't know? Because she's talking about girls that's missing, and she's talking about trolling bars. Was his thing?
Well, from what I read, he was a bartender. He was cracking on girls, meeting girls that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier for a girl to open up to a bartender to set up someone, a bartender, to some troll that just looking crazy hanging out in bars.
Right.
found one, if not many.
April Bentley's the founder of Rubies, a nonprofit specializing in sex trafficking, intervention awareness, and prevention.
We work with young ladies as young as 11 up to the age of 22. And I'm a community mom, so I'm when they walk through the door, they're my girls. And that's how I saw Sade, as one of my girls.
She says she's been in touch with Sade's family. Anderson will remain in the Milwaukee County Jail and is back in court on May 16th. In Milwaukee, Jenna Ray, TMJ4 News.
Yeah, this sounds like he might can get off on this. That's what it sounds like. All right, this is a case that we talked about last week. Philadelphia, PA. The frustrated families of two young men are begging for answers in a mysterious case that began with three friends taking a late night drive. Only one of them came home. The bodies of Ansar Scott Thomas and Quadir Diaz were pulled from Philadelphia waters weeks after they disappeared on March the 7th. Here's the report. Here's the report from Ansar's father. Here's the first report from Ansar's father.
A mystery in Philadelphia after three friends went for a drive and two of them disappeared. One of those young men was later found dead. Cheyenne Corinne reports.
For almost a month, there's been a lot of speculation about where these two friends could have gone. Now, although one of those boys' body has been found, it's still a mystery of what exactly happened that March night.
This last month was just tearing us apart.
Schuylkill River at Spring Garden Street. Following a blue shirt grade pants in the river. Below the falls, Marina's and Route, Bresca's Route.
William Thomas says that body found in the Schuylkill River on Sunday was his son, Asar Scott Thomas. The 21-year-old was enrolled in Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology's electrical engineering program. He hadn't been seen in more than 3 weeks.
I just couldn't stop crying. I'm saying just could not stop crying, thinking about the memories of him.
Asar was reported missing in the evening of March 7th.
It was starting to line up. There's a strong possibility they may have actually drowned.
His dad says Asar and two friends were driving to Northwest Philly, but only one out of the three friends returned home. Asar's childhood friend, 18-year-old Quadir Diaz, is still missing.
So,
his mother says
it's three people. They're in a car. It's three people together. Two of them is in the water. One of them is at home watching cartoons. So what's the story?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Best friends lived next door to each other in East Oak Lane growing up.
They'd never separate.
And you in a car. Now, they said that somebody was following them. How y'all get out the car?
It's a lot to the story they're not telling us.
Right.
That one boy that made it back, he knows something.
Mm-hmm.
So if something was done to Asar, Quadir definitely was going to stay there to the end.
The friend last with Asar and Quadir that night said they were last seen near Gypsy Lane and Lincoln Drive. Family members say they searched the area along with police.
It's been a nightmare, literally like a mystery, not knowing what happened.
Quadir's mom says the friend who returned home told her someone was chasing their car, causing them to crash and make a run for it.
I believe in my heart that my son was set up. I believe in his heart that if he is the one, that he didn't just drop. Closure for my family is that bringing him back to be able to have our goodbyes with him, you know.
Now, Philly police say the body they found had no signs of trauma or physical wounds, but they say as they continue to investigate, they'll release more information. Again, this is just a mystery of what exactly happened that March night, but in the meantime, the medical examiner's office, they are working to determine a cause of death for Asar. The family, they're asking if you have any information to contact police. I'm in Old City.
The next report is they found Quadair in that school kill. Here's the mother that was talking in this she's on, that was her son, so she's gonna be on this.
A vigil tonight for a young man found dead after a mysterious night out. Both he and a friend disappeared that night. Their bodies later discovered in the Schuylkill River. And Dawn, the families are heartbroken.
Sheba, they are absolutely and understandably devastated. Lots of heavy hearts here along the Schuylkill River in Manayunk, where Quadair Diaz's body was pulled from the river. You can still see the caution tape there behind me. Tonight, those who knew him and loved him and miss him celebrating the young man's life.
Claudia just loved to have people around him all the time. That was him. He just had a big heart.
And those who love Quadair Diaz just as much turning out to honor the 18-year-old. More than 100 people gathering with blue and white balloons and candles at the spot where his body was pulled from the Schuylkill River yesterday morning. His mom, Tanisha, touched by the outpouring.
I loved it. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe everybody supported as much.
Quadair and his childhood friend, Asar Thomas, had not been seen since the night of March 7th, when a third friend they were with said they were being chased and their car crashed. Asar's body was found in the Schuylkill River on April 1st, 40 days after that.
So the car crashed into what?
Yeah, exactly. Did they find a car in the Schuylkill too? Like, what the fuck?
Right.
Fateful night. Quadair's body recovered from the river off Ridge Avenue and Lincoln Drive in Manayunk.
Nightmare, you know, it's been actually like a mystery, which is still a mystery. It's just that I brought my son home, so now I give him a proper burial, but I'm still in suspense of what happened. Wow. What happened to my kid. I just need answers, and I need the city to give me answers. And I'm going to demand answers. It's not over.
After more than an hour of hugs and tears and remembering Quadair and what could have been, those who came out releasing balloons into the dark night sky as raindrops began to fall. Now, police have not released any details on that third friend who was with them and survived. Diaz's mom says she plans to meet with the Philadelphia Police Department Special Victims Unit tomorrow, where she will get an update on the investigation. And then she tells me she will begin the grim task of planning her son's funeral. Jason?
All right. Heartbreaking, Dawn. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a sad story there.
Now, let me tell you what I think happened. And it's just me going off my detective brain and trying to piece together shit. I think those three boys went to go rob somebody, set somebody up. The person they went to rob had a gun. He got away. The other one, too, got killed. You know what I mean? And he can't say, like, well, this is who we went to go rob. You know what I mean? He did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's going to incriminate himself. So he ain't really saying shit. Somebody was chasing this. So out the blue, somebody just going to start chasing you.
And you crash your car.
No, they went to go set somebody up or rob somebody, and the motherfucker that they went to set up, he was already on that shit. He had his piece, bust their ass, and the one got away. That's what I think.
So how they get into the water?
Did they find any like shots on their bodies or something?
No.
I mean, the boy could have had a gun and said jump. You never know.
Right. No, they didn't have any trauma on the bodies. They just was in the water.
Yeah, somebody made them jump, or maybe he was chasing them with a gun, and that was the last move they could make. You know what I mean? But the bottom line, I think they went to get somebody, and somebody fucking flipped that shit on them. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Well, all right. We going to Clayton County, Georgia, where mother Grace Shalou is outraged Says daycare worker had inappropriate relationship with her 10-year-old son. So my man 10 years old and already pulling women. So here's the report.
Concerns for after a couple of instances at the place where her son attends this after school program, but she went to plug in his phone to charge it, and that's when she discovered what was going on between her 10-year-old and a worker here at this daycare, the Youth Life Center, that had more than crossed the line. And she's uncovered that relationship that had been brewing for likely weeks.
They hugged for a lengthy period of time.
Grace Shawelu thought something was off with a newer worker here at Youth Life Center on
Then
Valley
she should have said
Road,
something.
but when
Yep.
she plugged in her son's phone,
her face was his screensaver.
This is a 10-year-old, and that's what he had on his screensaver, a picture of this woman
on the phone.
And first of all, I believe that they should be showing her face and saying her name, because if that was a man, they'd be doing it.
That's what they do. They always protect females. You know that.
Right.
She's a criminal, so show her face. She's not like she's a minor.
Mm-hmm. The picture that she had taken of herself,
and she started digging.
I went through his text messages because that was the first thing that I thought.
Well, first of all, this is a daycare worker. It's like an after school program. Why in the hell does she have this young man's phone number for it to be texting and sending pictures to?
See, the mom could have nipped that shit in the butt a long time ago after the hug.
Right.
After she saw the screensaver, she could have been nipped all this in the butt.
Right. Like, what is all this conversation through text for? If there's a problem, whatever, now the daycare should have the mother's information, not his.
And her
what can a
name was
grown ass woman do with a 10-year-old? That's crazy.
Saved in his phone as mommy. There's a bunch of I love yous and what are you wearing?
She shared pictures of much of the concerning conversation between her son and the 24-year-old worker, and pictures like this one.
That's not a picture that you send to a 10.
Look at this picture that she sent to a 10-year-old boy.
So my thing is, if the 10-year-old is talking about I love you and what are you wearing and I want to meet you at the crib, where did he learn all of this from? Obviously, he had to learn from the home. The mom is the first teacher. So what is this mom lacking or showing at this kid for him to be that mature and moving fast like that about women at 10?
Mm-hmm. Year-old, that's a picture that you send to your man.
She said the worker bought her son clothes, shoes, and even a gold chain. And Grace said when investigators came to her apartment, a Department of Family and Children's Services worker got her 10-year-old to reveal more.
He did say that this incident where she was rubbing his leg happened on the way back from the field trip.
We aren't using the worker's name or face because she is yet to be charged, and that's why Grace is...
No, they have names and faces of people who never got charged. Like you said, why are they protecting her for?
Outraged.
Had it been a situation where it was a little girl and a grown man, they would have locked him up on the spot with no questions until he was proven innocent.
Hey, look, we always say the same thing. Right. Mm-hmm.
Reached out to Youth Life Center, who sent a statement saying, upon learning of these allegations, we took immediate action by notifying the appropriate authorities, going on to say we have terminated the employee for violations of standard operating procedures. Grace won't rest until that worker is charged.
Channel 2's Candace McCowan back out live with us from Clayton County. So, Candace, where does this case stand now?
Wendy, we reached out multiple times to Clayton County Police, and we have not heard back. We did hear back from DFACS, who says that they are looking into this case, but couldn't say much else because of privacy reasons. That mother says that her 10-year-old is just confused right now. Wendy?
And we can all understand why. This is all just very inappropriate, and I know you'll be following this one for us. Candace, thank you.
What the hell is he confused about?
Young boy want that ass early.
We go to Houston, Texas. But Frostbank tells us Cecilia Hope Brown is accused of taking $180,000 from an 86-year-old who considered her like a daughter. Here's the report. Yeah, right.
Right now, a former bank teller on the run, accused of stealing all of an elderly woman's money. The employee allegedly drained the woman's account to less than $2 and took almost $200,000. ABC 13's Giovanni Ligi is live in the newsroom for us tonight, breaking down those court documents. Giovanni?
Well, Erica, the bank confirms that the employee is no longer with them and that they are working and cooperating with law enforcement. But those court documents lay out how this 86-year-old was arguably blindsided by somebody she thought she could trust. Houston police are on the search for 29-year-old Cecilia Brown. She's a former bank teller here at Frost Bank in Southeast Houston and is now accused of stealing almost $140,000. Court documents lay out her elaborate scheme that spanned for months. Those documents show she built a relationship with an 86-year-old woman who told police she considered Brown like one of her own, a daughter. This year, between February and June, Brown withdrew almost $140,000. And here's how her former supervisor at the bank says she did it. Brown would allegedly go into the vault room and take stacks of cash. They accuse her of then hiding it under papers when no one was looking. She would then walk back to the teller counter and put it underneath. They say she would then walk out of the bank with the cash stuffed inside of boxes, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars at a time. But she was caught when the 86-year-old got a letter in the mail saying her IRA account had been drained to just $1.50. An investigation was conducted, and at the time, Brown was placed on administrative leave.
Administrative leave.
Right.
And we did try and find
no fucking none of that, just administrative leave.
Right.
Brown to speak with her. We weren't able to do so, but she does have a warrant out for her arrest. And tonight, Frost Bank confirms that they have repaid the 86-year-old all of the money that was taken. Erica.
Now, the thing is, you caught her stealing and you know the routine of her stealing. Why you didn't arrest her on the spot?
Mm-hmm.
Giovanni, this really seems like it was an elaborate scheme. How can people make sure this doesn't happen to them?
Yeah, well, Erica, there's a number of things you can do. One of the most important just by watching and making sure you know what's coming in and out of your bank account. But this is common for elderly people to be targeted, which is why they're often targeted once again. And there's a couple of things that you can do. Once again, we'll have those on our website.
Yeah, they should have just arrested. They already know the routine how she went to the safe and taking money and wrapping it in paper and all that stuff. Once you seen that play, they should have cops there as soon as she walked into work that next day. Is arrest her. Well, all right, let's get into some sports talk. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday was the NFL draft, and for the Eagles, I'm only going to go up to the 5th round. First round, pick 22. The Eagles select Quentin Mitchell, cornerback of Toledo. Second round, pick number 40. The Eagles select Cooper DeJean, defensive back Iowa. Third round, pick 94 is Jaylox Hunt, edge rusher from Houston Christian. I think he was in Cornell and went to Houston and transferred into Houston Christian, which is kind of weird for you to transfer out of an Ivy League school, but let's continue on. Fourth round, pick 127th, the Eagles select Will Shipley, running back for Clemson. Fifth round, the Eagles select Anaya Smith, wide receiver at Texas A&M. And also in the 5th round, at 155, the Eagles select Jeremiah Trotter, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. from linebacker from Clemson. I didn't mention all the trades and stuff the Eagles done, but before you give your opinion, here is Jackson Kruger Sports from YouTube. That's his YouTube handler, Jackson Kruger Sports. He's going to talk about the Eagles pick Quentin Mitchell.
Well, once again, the Eagles do what they always do, and they decided to go out and get a player who is, high up on the consensus big board. I believe he was the highest player. Yeah, highest player still available at number 12 on the consensus big board. They get him at 22. Usually what they kind of just do is say, hey, we're going to go out and just get the player that we find to be get the player we think is the best player available, even if it's not the perfect fit. In a couple of years, they'll end up playing, right? Like that's the Jalen Carter thing. Did they need him that year? Not necessarily, but he was able to still come in and contribute. Mitchell is not that. Mitchell is also a position of need. Now, Again, maybe Darius Slay and James Bradbury return to their, 2 years ago form and are great. But if that happens, then cool. Then you have just depth. Like, that's a good thing if that happens, But I wouldn't bank on it happening for Mitchell. And, if it doesn't happen, well, then you have a really good, then you're in an okay position. So, yeah, I really like, Mitchell as a player. I had him higher up on my board as well. Fair warning, when we get into this video, it ended up being a much more negative video than I meant, despite the fact that I really like him as a player. So just want to, warn you at the beginning, I have more negatives to talk about than positives in the video, but I have much more positives to talk about the negatives as a whole with Mitchell. Just kind of a couple of the positives clips I use ended up cutting from the video for just pacing reasons and stuff like that. So that's why it's that way. But yeah, just wanted to set that up. But anyways, let's get into the film and talk about what I like so much about Mitchell. Let's start off with this play. So what's going to happen here is you see it's a one-on-one matchup on the screen. It's against Ohio State. So, showing some film against some very good receivers. But still, again, at the NFL level, you're going to play some very good receivers, right? And it's a pure one-on-one matchup. There's no help right here. So this is definitely, this is a tough situation for Mitchell. It is. When this play begins, you're going to see kind of his one, I feel like, biggest weakness is he's someone who overcommits. And to me, he is a very raw prospect. That's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think that there's definitely some, logic to the idea of, hey, let's get the most physically gifted corner that maybe isn't the most polished instead of getting the most polished corner that can't really get any better. But still, you see how his hips are turned towards the top of the screen kind of already, is often very quick to commit to a certain direction. So the second the receiver starts to cut more towards the middle, now Mitchell's in a bit of trouble. And now Mitchell kind of has to make a, adjustment in this situation. But watch him really get way out of position when the receiver cuts. And, luckily the ball didn't go in that direction. But if it did, it would have been an easy completion. I'm not showing this to try and make it seem like I don't like him as a player or anything. Just, again, we're showing the positives and the negatives, right? I want to make sure I get the whole picture for someone like Mitchell. I think something like this is a counter argument to that point I just made. Not that it was really
That was horrible too, by the way.
An argument, but you know what
Say it again.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, a reason that would maybe make you feel less worried about that last play I showed, which is even if there is going to be the occasional play where he gets himself out of position, the guy runs a 4.3. It's not as big of a deal as if he was a slower corner who would get out of position.
Yeah, but you got other people in the league that runs the same too. This is not college.
Right.
And this play is an example of it, where it's, again, a one-on-one matchup. And again, I want to be clear. I am showing, the highest degree of difficulty kind of stuff you'll get at the college level. I am. But watch how when this play begins, you're going to see that right here. Okay, well-ran route. Mitchell is, there's a step there, right? For sure. But this is where Mitchell can really, I think, thrive, which is his ability to come back. When he does overcommit, he can get back into position. And that's something you can teach a little, but that's something that just certain players aren't going to have. If you run a 4.5, you're screwed at this point. But watch Mitchell have the speed and also have the ability to, just tackle the receiver and get him out of bounds so it's an incomplete pass right there. That's a really good close on that play when it was, looking very good. These are some real benefits that you'll see from someone like Mitchell that just other guys don't have. And the fact that he can do this is something that, even though I might have some nitpicks on certain things, like the fact that he will overcommit and sometimes he can get turned around, stuff like that, it doesn't really bother me too much, because I think that he'll be able to come back if he does, while he is learning. And once he learns it and gets it down, then he won't even have those issues. That's what you hope with someone like Mitchell. There's also something like this, which isn't to me really a big critique of him, more so just a critique of the system, is you see how they're playing this right here, kind of showing all out blitz. So all their corners are playing very far off. This is a specific situation, but in general, I noticed that they played their corners very far off at Toledo, which to me was probably a coaching thing. But for someone like Mitchell, again, I'm bringing up his speed. Typically, you don't play that far off if you run a 4.3. So I do kind of wonder if there is going to be maybe just, again, an adjustment period when he gets to the NFL of just doing stuff he hasn't done as much in college. It's just something I thought of. because that's where he is on the field. That's where, that's the route that he's going to be covering right here. But again, watch how he plays this. You're going to see that when it begins, definitely playing very far off. And you could certainly say is in real trouble right here. Here is why, again, I'm not as concerned about it. I don't consider this a negative of his necessarily. I think this is a coaching thing, because you even see the corner on the other side of the field is doing the exact same thing. So this to me isn't one of those situations you look at and say, wow, he's just so afraid of getting burned deep, because you see it with all the Toledo corners. And again, he runs a 4.3. I feel like I keep bringing that up, but because it really matters with corners is how fast they run. So for me, again, I think it's something that you could, when watching film, you might say, oh, wow, this is a negative. If you are someone who does that, I wouldn't be concerned about it, because I think that it's more of a coach.
It almost seemed like he got more negative to say than anything positive.
Thing. And like you see, I mean, this is going to be a completion. To be honest, these were most of the completions he gave up. Like, yeah, he had the occasional overcommitting, getting burned deep, which again, or not getting burned deep, but getting burned by, moving too far in and things like that.
Yeah, that was a coaching thing, because they show him blitz, but they didn't even blitz.
Right.
That's definitely
leaving the damn man wide open in the middle and just where the quarterback threw it to.
Something we saw of him, but it wasn't massive and wasn't really a big deal.
This is probably Marvin Harrison Jr. too, by the way.
And it's not really more on him, is because if you start from the top, the defenders, the D-backs, the third one down, he's too close. Once you act like you're going to blitz, then you're supposed to drop back for coverage.
Right.
He got back too late. If he'd have got back in time, then that guy wouldn't be able to make that catch.
Right.
Other catches he gave up were really stuff like this, where they feel more like coaching issues than, him just giving up catches. So if you are someone who saw like a low lights reel or whatever, or just a bad play from him or whatever, sometimes it's this, and I wouldn't actually be as concerned about it. So yeah, it was, a bit of an odd video here where I feel like I had more negatives to say about Mitchell than positives, but I also feel positive about him as a player, and I feel like the negatives are more nitpicks and the positives are more strong positives that I feel really good about. At the end of the day, when you run a 4.3,
this is not really his fault. Like you said, it's the I don't know if that's a linebacker or a defensive back right there. That's on the circle. Okay, so he runs up and act like he was going to blitz, and he like, oh shit, and ran back. Now, and the quarterback threw it right in that direction where he should have been, right there.
Because our boy got the over top. That's what you want. So this guy's supposed to have the underneath, and if he'd have been in position, that pass wouldn't have been complete.
Yeah.
You have, good height and weight, and you're so good at closing on the ball, and
then you would think that. See, I would automatically think that he was supposed to cover the running back if the running back came out in the field. But there's somebody already there covering the running back.
You got the three linebackers back.
Right. So what are you doing?
Bullshit.
So what are you doing right there?
Yeah, bullshit.
Because it almost looks like he's supposed to cover the running back, but there's already somebody covering the running back.
Right. All he's supposed to do is fake blitz and then drop back into coverage. He faked the blitz, but he didn't get back in coverage in time.
Right.
That's not on the cornerback. That's more him.
I also kind of forgot to mention, unless I mentioned this before we got into the film, he was Pro Football Focus's highest graded corner in back-to-back years. So he does a lot of really good stuff, and even the nitpicks
the damn quarterback threw it right in that direction too, where that ball could have easily either been batted down or intercepted, one or the other.
I have explanations for why I wouldn't really be concerned about them. So yeah, long story short, think he's a good player. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course.
All right. So what's your thoughts on the draft?
I would say we did an A.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, first of all, you can't talk about the cornerback because he's the highest rated corner and he's the best corner in the draft, and we got him. So nothing you can say about that. And if he was the highest rated on every team board, that means he's the number one cornerback. The dude didn't give up a touchdown in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck all that underneath shit. I don't care about that. He ain't giving up touchdowns. He got a 4.3 speed and he got the instinct. So he can lay off on a receiver and make the quarterback think he open because he got that recovery speed. And that's what Deion Sanders and some of them cornerbacks back in the day used to do when they get picks. They trick the quarterback to thinking that guy is open because they got quick recovery time. So as soon as the quarterback can say, "Oh shit," and he throw it over there, this guy come flying out of nowhere and got a fucking pick six.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my man, he had like, I think 6 interceptions or 7 interceptions, and 4 of them he ran back for touchdowns because it's the same shit. You thought he was open, then he come flying out of nowhere and took that shit to the house the other way.
Right. And like I said, I think that wide receiver there is Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not sure. I can't see number.
Probably, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So he's covering the so he gave a little cushion to the best wide receiver in college football. Would you want to say you would say that one of the best wide receivers in college football, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he gave a little cushion there. So he wouldn't get beat long.
Exactly. That's perfect. You don't get beat for the bomb.
Right. So that wasn't he should have never shown this footage because this doesn't look like it was his fault.
Right.
Okay, so what about the other cornerback?
B plus because he got real good instinct. He's real smart. He was high up on the board too as one of the corners. I feel like we got the best 2 corners in the draft. And when you can get the best 2 at any position like that, I mean, like you don't want to have the best 2 running backs or the best 2 tight ends, but best 2 receivers in the draft is money. Best 2 corners or secondary guys, money. Best 2 linebackers. When you do stuff like that on the defensive end, that's money. So we got the best 2 guys. So I see both of them guys, as long as they don't get hurt, barring injury, those guys being here for at least the next 8 to 10 years, starting.
Okay, well, I'm a show footage again. Jackson Kruger is talking about Cooper Dean. Here we go.
All right, Cooper DeJean or DeJohn, depending on how you say it. He has been selected here. Finally, gets selected by the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll get into the film. What I like about him as a player, why I like this move by the Eagles. But first, it's so Eagles, right? That I feel like every draft they do this, where they somehow just consistently get best players available, and it feels like part of what they do is they, here are willing to trade as they usually are, but also don't just say, well, we need a corner, so we're going to sit where we're at and hope a corner falls to us and then draft whatever the best corner on our board is at that point. No, they wanted a corner, they go up and they get the best corner available, and they usually have a habit of, drafting players who fall in the draft, and those players tend to usually be pretty good. So I don't know if they were planning on doubling down on corner, but when a guy like Cooper DeJean fell, who's a guy who I really like as a player, I was a little bit lower than some people. I think he was like 9th on the PFF big board. I wasn't quite that high, but I still had a first round grade on him. So getting him here in round 2 feels like a bit of a steal for me personally. So Eagles doing some good stuff. Let's talk about the player himself and what I like about him. Let's just get into the film. Let's start off with this play, which is, I think, an interesting play to start off with. Now, you might be wondering a little bit, why am I using this play instead of like a coverage play? He's a corner. Well, the real thing with Cooper DeJean is the fact that he is just so good at doing so many different things. I mean, that's kind of the biggest benefit is he checks every box, and this play will be a good example of what he can do, where, we'll watch what happens. When this play begins, you see a receiver runs up and is honestly in pretty good position to block DeJean here, but watch how DeJean is able to, you see him go towards the edge and really make a, pretty good tackle there as well, knock the player out of bounds. He's very physical and definitely can get into the play on these types of things, which is very impressive for a corner. Like this one's another one where it's going to be the way the concept is supposed to work for Illinois on this one is to have several receivers running deeper routes over the middle, and then to have the halfback run a kind of, just running an underneath route right here. You hit the halfback. It's 3rd and 15. You're not expecting a ton here, but at your opponent's 40-yard line, you'd like to at least gain some yards and get into field goal range. That is where DeJean is, and watch what he's going to do on this one. So when this play begins, quarterback takes the snap, quickly gets the ball to the halfback, but DeJean is reading this one so well. That's step 1. But again, he's a corner, right? And just because you're reading a play well, you have to then get over and actually make the tackle, and that might be difficult. And you want to make this tackle quickly, as I said. You don't want to give him a chance at a field goal, or at least not an easy field goal. But watch him quickly get over, and he is able to make that immediate tackle and is able to get the stop right there. It's really impressive stuff, and he can.
That was a good play there because that play was specifically designed for Cooper to make that play, a tackle. I don't know what you want to call it, because as you see the linebacker blitz leaving that wide receiver, that running back open like that.
Right.
That was just for him. That was made just for him to make that play there because they knew, his reaction. He would react to it. So that was some good shit there. I don't know. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know much about college football, so this is stuff I'm seeing for the first time.
Consistently do this stuff, I would say, which is part of what I like about him. So, that stuff, which again, people will say, well,
because if he didn't react to that, that could have been a touchdown. And he talking about a field goal. That was damn because the running back was wide open.
Oh, I want a corner who can cover. I don't care about
instinct, and he can make tackles. He's physical, so that's something we need.
This stuff. At the end of the day, this stuff matters. You need guys who can do this, and for someone like DeJean, who might be doing several different things, not just playing a pure cover corner, but might be in the slot or as a safety as well. Being able to do this certainly matters. A play like this, I think, is interesting, where one thing I did notice with DeJean is he can overcommit. He certainly can, and he can, he's not incapable of getting beat. Let's just say that. This one is a man coverage play. It's a slant route that he's supposed to be going up against. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Well, when his play begins, he's giving up a little bit of separation, right? Definitely a little bit of separation. And again, this is 2nd down and 8. Maybe you're more comfortable.
I disagree about the separation. He's a little further back because, like you said, he don't want to get burnt long. Right. So look, I give you the short shit. This is almost pretty much the same situation as the first quarterback.
And there's a 2nd down and 8. I'm willing to give up a 4-yard pass.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. He ain't trying to get busted a long play. So look, I give you a little bit of cushion. It's not that big of a cushion.
Right.
Giving up 5 yards or so, but it's definitely playing a little bit further back right here, which is something I've noticed with him is that, I said he can overcommit at the beginning of this, but also he definitely is someone who is a little bit quick to bail. He's a little bit quick to give up a little bit of space, which, he's a fast enough corner. He doesn't have to do that. It's not necessarily a critique, more so just a play style thing I noticed. But here is why that doesn't really bother me too much the way it might bother me with other players is usually I hate when guys, give up too much space. But if you can come back and if you have good ball skills, I'm going to be more forgiving. And Cooper DeJean doesn't have good ball skills. He has great ball skills. Look at him read this play when the ball gets over there. He actually steps in front and gets the interception on this one. He gets a pick 6 out of that, a really good awareness. And so even if, I think that's part of why he would give up space is because he was almost kind of.
That was a shitty throw.
It was.
Well, good with our boy Cooper though, but that was a shitty throw. He should have never even thrown that from the jump anyway, because my man was covered. Cooper had him, and
top
it was
and
the guy
bottom
behind him. Right, exactly.
Hoping guys would throw in his direction because he had really good ball skills and wanted some takeaways. So, okay, fair enough. If you're getting those kind of results, it works. And that's kind of why evaluating young players can sometimes be so difficult is because, hey, he's trying to be a successful college player. He's not trying to show off at the NFL level. We could sit here and say, well, at the NFL level, the ball will come out quicker.
And then it took too long for the ball to get to the wide receiver.
Yeah, that was bullshit all the way around.
The receiver would cut quicker and he would be screwed. Well, at the NFL level, he also can adjust to it. And maybe he wouldn't give up that much space in that situation. So, it's definitely something I do think is, definitely a positive. Although going over here, I'd be lying if I said these plays didn't drive me crazy, where it's cover 3 zone. The route, the zone that Cooper DeJean is covering is the route, the one that route is eventually going to go into the deep route towards the, far right-hand side of the screen, side of the field for the offense. So for us, the top left-hand corner of the screen. You see that when this play begins, that for DeJean, he's turned his back towards the receiver and he's, bailing very quickly, which is, again.
No. What is he talking about? I don't consider that bailing. Like I said, they played so they don't want to get bust for a long touchdown. Right.
You have to wonder how much of this is a coaching thing because the corner on the other side of the field is doing the exact same thing. But, these things did kind of.
This is Ohio State. Ohio State is one of the best teams in college.
You better not let them guys get behind you for them bombs.
Exactly, and that's what he doing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of drive me crazy a little bit watching it on film because it felt like there was often a lot of room to throw underneath. Here, that is going to happen, and for me personally, it's a weird thing of how much do you consider this a negative? Because on one hand, a lot of times when guys do this, it's because they don't have the speed to stay deep with these guys. I think the Gene does have the speed to keep with those guys. I really think it's just a coaching thing, but I guess the question is, there does feel like a bit of projection with someone like the Gene, and I also think it's fair to say, what exactly is his role? Like, I don't see him as just like a pure cover 3 zone corner. I think that would be a mistake. I think it depends on what is he going to be doing. And
I don't see nothing wrong with this play here.
Yeah, no.
Now, in terms of doing it every play, no. But this specific play right here, no, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
where's he going to
say it again?
I said, yeah, he's nitpicking.
Go. So, scheme fit and all that stuff is really going to come into play. However, there's still, even with me having some critiques, all the critiques are fixable, and there's so much good to like with him. I'm definitely banking on him succeeding as a player. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always.
All right. So that's our 2 first round and second round picks. And we're recording on Sunday, I'm sorry. And the Sixers is losing 84-81. Philip, do you have any hopes on this game or?
Say the score.
84-81. It's 8 minutes to go in the fourth.
Oh shit! I need to watch the game then. The Sixers should have beat the Knicks with ease, but shit, I don't know because they've been playing hard and we be on some bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can say the second game. That was a fluke win for the Knicks because that should have been a timeout and that should have been a foul. But the man still had the open 3 for the score. So and they talk about they're going to contest it. Like, what's going to happen if the NBA say, yeah, you're right, that was a timeout and all that stuff you was calling it? What are they not going to reverse the game? So what's the use of complaining about it?
Right.
Yeah,
they do it all the time in sports. They want to contest something after the fact. And what's crazy is the rule book says if you win your contested challenge, there's a stipulation where they can make y'all play that last minute from where the foul occurred.
Right.
And I think they said in all of the years of the NBA, they only did it like 5 times or 6 times. I've never seen it because it's bullshit. So you're gonna make both teams and everybody show up just for 5 minutes of a game and then pick up at that moment. But obviously they did that before in the past.
Right.
That just sounds crazy to me. Like if the ref blow a call and you lose the game, hey, it is what it is. You can bitch and complain, but don't sit there and write a grievance to the commissioner and all that shit because they ain't gonna do nothing.
Right. Anything else on the sports front?
Not really, but you jumped from the picks real quick. So what did you give our overall draft for the NFL?
Oh, they drafted all the stuff that we talked about. They drafted because we said that the Eagles need a cornerback or safety, either or, and they needed another linebacker, and that's who they drafted. They drafted 2 cornerbacks, so they got the best cornerback in the draft. They got a linebacker and the edge rusher and all that stuff. The edge rusher is cool, but I don't think that Hunt is going to get in right away. Ania Smith, I guess that's a Quez Watkins type of replacement, battling for Quez Watkins type position. So we really didn't need a wide receiver, but it's good to have it. And also a running back. I mean, what spot is this running back going to take?
Well, I heard that the running back would be mostly special teams because he's real good at special teams. And we need a kick returner because I don't really like what's his name, Brett Covey, that much.
Yeah.
He didn't really do shit. I think he flashed a couple times here and there, but in the 17 game season, you need more than just 1 or 2 flashes.
Right.
And then you got Trotter Jr. I love that pick. Even if Trotter Jr. He was a highly rated linebacker because he got interceptions, he got sacks. He fuck quarterbacks up, be a good tackler. But his only downside was they said he take plays off. And I think you can coach that out of the player if you want to, especially with his dad, who he is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a good draft. They drafted what they needed.
So
That's just exactly what we talked about. Oh, I give it I give it an
Not
A.
a scale of 1 to 10, but A, B, C.
Yeah, I give it an A because of they drafted what we needed and they drafted good players. Like the guy kind of said, they didn't just say, okay, we need a cornerback and just pick one.
Right.
They got the best. They got the best. The only thing I'm concerned about is the first and second pick and Jeremiah Trotter in the 5th round. Because they need a linebacker just in case. Because the Kobe Dean keeps getting hurt, and that was supposed to be the next big good linebacker. So we don't know. When he played well, but he always get hurt. Right. So we need somebody to fill in those shoes there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like the draft there. I don't have any complaints about Howie Roseman this year.
Right.
Anything else?
No.
All right, y'all. You can reach the Judgmentals on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at pnljudgementals. Instagram at the2_. Instagram us at the2_ judgmentals, or you can email us at pnljudgementals@gmail.com. All right,
I can do it on my own. That's why I produce the track. Don't wonder where my crew is at. They'll be back. Niggas see me walking on the block and look like, who is that? Who is that? People always wanna know where my friends is at. Like we attached. I don't need no crew to produce the same effect. How lame is